This is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Boman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
Now, about this time, we would be telling you about the tailgater that we're drinking.
This is a tailgater?
Do you know that I do it tailgate beer? Did I?
Okay,
you guys know that?
let me explain to people what you do. You wake up at about 5 o'clock in the morning.
No.
For your other show.
No.
What time do you wake up for the other show?
Well, the alarm's set for 4:15. I usually wake up at 4 on my own.
Okay, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
You probably have coffee.
At some point.
At some point during the week, you might have a beer on your show before 10 a.m.
Yeah, well, I mean on Fridays.
Okay.
Fridays, yeah.
On most days, you probably have what you like to call beer meetings for your other business.
Usually that's way, way late, like 3:30 in the afternoon.
On average, when do you crack your first beer of the day?
Well, it really depends on what's going on. Typically, it's about that. It depends, but 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Oh, not before 1?
On an average day, no.
Not a luncher, a nooner?
No. Well, now Fridays can be weird because if I drink on a Friday morning, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're mowing the grass and you have another beer at 12:30. So it can happen.
All right. So normally you're having a beer at 3. You might have one at 4:30. You might have one at 5:30, depending on a show day.
Yeah, then it's happy hour.
How many have you had today prior to walking in my house?
I brought one with me and I just finished it.
That's it. So one.
Yeah. So one. But I always have a pre-tailgater tailgate.
And then we have a tailgater, which is like Bud Heavy or something that we don't feature as a conversational beer, or maybe we have already done as a conversational beer.
Yeah, and the funniest damn thing about this ridiculous podcast, it's called Tom's World Beer Tour.
I know, and we don't.
It's not really about drinking as much as we drink every time. We get into these conversations that are amazing. The stuff we talked about last week with Pete Walker
was amazing.
I didn't even know he was from Cincinnati, nor that you knew so much about Cincinnati, and we were going to get into this great conversation.
I'd put it in my top 5 shows.
Just because you liked it. It was fun. It was
because
interesting.
We peeled an onion. We knew a little bit about Pete. And then just by interviewing him and having a conversation, not even an interview, really, it's a conversation. More. And then he had a tattoo on his arm that's similar to a tattoo I have. That led to a story about his father.
You found out you were both in the tattoo parlor at the same time.
Probably.
You held hands in there while you got tatted. That was really.
I mean, there are people that do that. There are.
I'm sure that there
couples
are
that do that stuff.
But it is, and you're right. Peeling the onion. By the way,
this is the way you hold. You hold it. You put 2 fingers in the handle.
Okay, we're drinking, for those who can't see it, we're drinking a, you don't think it's a Moscow Mule or a Moscow Mule.
This is a Kentucky Mule.
By the way, I was told a zillion years ago, Moscow, if you're a foreign, not foreign, if you're a foreign correspondent, you'd pronounce it Moscow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Moscow Mule doesn't sound right. A Moscow Mule sounds right.
Moscow.
But this is not a Moscow Mule.
No, so a Moscow Mule is vodka, ginger beer over ice, a squeeze of lime, in usually a copper cup. These are not copper, but these are definitely steel cups.
Yeah.
And they've got the hammering on them, right? So that I think somehow there's something scientific about the dimples on here with the way the cooling works.
So it moves through air like a golf ball?
I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, so I bought these. These are 19 ounces, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a 19-ounce
cup. Is that?
That's big.
You wouldn't know it.
How about this? A normal Yeti is 16 ounces.
Now, so the reason you went with you didn't go with the Moscow Mule.
No, because if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, you'll know by looking behind me, I'm not a vodka guy. I'm a whiskey guy. So the Kentucky Mule, you call it a whiskey mule too. The Kentucky Mule is ginger beer over ice. Some sort of whiskey. In this particular case, we're drinking a rye. This is Heaven's Door, which is a distillery out of Tennessee that was started by Bob Dylan, and the guys from Angel's Envy.
So knocking on Heaven's Door.
Knocking on Heaven's Door. And they bought a church in Tennessee and remodeled it for their distillery.
Okay.
And so Bob's the guy. So in honor of Bob Dylan and all that
Well,
great
and the
stuff,
fact that we have our guest today likes a little whiskey. And so
he likes pain, too.
He likes pain.
And this dulls the pain.
This is going to be one kind of a conversation today we're having a good time with. We're going to be talking about MMA and training MMA fighters. So, but back to this thing, dude. This is really tasty.
And if
I don't do cocktails.
No, but here's my problem. You drink more beer than I do. I'm not. If I'm drinking beer, like if I'm out by the smoker, I might be drinking Bud Heavies. I might be drinking Natter Days, something light.
And you'll drink a couple or a few.
Yeah, but if I
do a couple or a few 6-packs.
But I can't stand out there with this rocks glass. I look like a D-bag.
Well,
I mean, without the glass. I'm just saying.
Your own call.
And so what I do is now I have these, but like in a Yeti, which is if I'm outside, I'll do a Yeti. The Kentucky Mule, I can sip all day. It's nice and icy. It's delicious. I can take my time.
How much whiskey is in here?
2 ounces.
Is that 2 shots? It's 2 shots, right?
Typical shot's 1.5 ounces. 2 ounces is what they would call a double.
So this is a heavy-handed pour with the bartender.
You've met me.
Yes, I have. It's really tasty. Thank you for making this.
I think the right way to hold it, though, is to put your 2 fingers through the handle.
They don't fit through.
Really?
No, they don't fit through.
Well, congratulations to Deb.
Well, no, I think it's my age and my damn knuckles. Which, you know what, we're going to talk about hand size in a moment and get into it. But back to what I said before, which is, I mean, it is Tom's World Beer Tour, and we do drink on every show, but damn it, it's about the conversations we get into. Yeah. And I love this. I love exposing. You said peeling an onion. I think we're going to need to bring a tissue box, because if our guests don't start crying as we peel into their life,
I'm telling you,
I'm going to start crying.
We've had a couple of moments. I've had a couple of moments, man. There's been some stuff that's been amazing. I will tell you that the whole – we explain this to people all the time. Tom's World Beer Tour is really – beer is the liquid that leads to conversation. This is a conversational show. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of it. You have a lot of beer going on in your life. You promote one of the biggest beer festivals in the state, the Missouri Beer Fest.
Yeah.
I go out and drink with you, and you go all over the board on beers, and I'll have a beer, and then I'll probably go to bourbon and all that. But every great conversation you and I have had, we probably have some sort of beverage in our hand.
That are hanging out. And by the way, I did bring beer, and so we can have a conversational beer today when we hit that point of the show.
Yeah.
Or if you – and I brought something because I knew there was a chance you guys might have some whiskey.
Sure.
And so I did want to have something like an IPA, fresh, hazy squeeze thing that's going to be, obtrusive with that. So
no, we should still do a conversational beer. This is just a tailgater.
Okay.
Today. I just wanted to shake it up when we're at the Boman bar.
All right.
I kind of like a little whiskey for the tailgater. When we're out and about, give me a Bud Heavy. Give me a What's the Australian beer that we had?
Foster's,
the oil can.
Foster's, very good. And by the way, I was looking at beers this week, and I was thinking about maybe getting some of those big boys. What are they, 20, 24, 30? The big cans now. And I thought a couple of those sitting out here would be a great idea too at some point.
You know the other problem with this show, and I was telling the bad roadie who's here, Chris Kendrick.
So he's the bad roadie. He's the refrigerator repairman.
Well, in my case, because I had a disaster happen to my house today, my refrigerator went out, and it's not a good time for it to happen.
That's what I call shitty.
So he showed up with a deep freeze, which is great. But at the end of the day, if I eat lunch at noon-ish, by the time I get here, get set up, it's 5:15 our time. We do a show for an hour. We drink a bunch of beers. I have to eat something before this show. So I have
you got some little nuts going
on
over there.
I have a little Tupperware of nuts. Because I have noticed listening back to shows or watching shows back, at about the 45-minute mark.
You can tell?
Uh-huh.
You're starting to get – well, I didn't eat today until almost –
because we drink 8 and 9% beers.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
And we drink 3 of them in an hour.
Well, Chris is the roadie. He's also the cameraman today. Did you offer him your nuts when he got here?
No, I offered him a cocktail and a bottle of water. Why would I offer him my nuts?
I think shouldn't he have offered you –
I said, hey, man, you want some of D's nuts?
just like that. All right, let me say this before we
and then we have housekeeping.
We'll get to housekeeping, and then I'll say something. You do housekeeping, then we'll hit our conversational beer.
What a machine this is!
It really is. We got it all planned out. I want to tell you that, given the chance, I would probably never go into the octagon. What I like to refer to as the octagon of pain.
Hell no.
The MMA fighting octagon.
You understand that I have been in 2 fights my entire life,
and the ages were.
Both were in 6th grade.
Yeah.
One was against a girl named Hiroko, who was Samoan. She beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And the other one was a guy named Richard Purdy, who might actually listen to this podcast. It wasn't fair. It was a TKO because he was on those tennis shoe roller skates with the 4 wheels.
What were they called? Heelys?
No. This is like back in the 80s with us. They were like literally tennis shoes that had 4-wheel skates attached to them.
Like strapped onto them.
No, they were all one. How old are you?
Well, I'm
older than you. Did you have the one with the
you.
Metal key where you put your own shoe?
At some point we did. Wait a second. Are you talking about the ones that pop out?
No.
Okay.
These were built. It's a 4-wheel skate.
Quads
with an actual integrated like Adidas tennis shoe.
Okay. And so he's on those, and you hit him?
I clocked him in the side of the head. He lost his balance. He went down, and then he skated home. So that's a win. That's it. That's my entire life. Dude.
I mean, I'll give you the win on that thing. There's nothing fun about fighting. Nothing.
No, I've talked my way out of. I mean, listen, I'm 6'1", 260. I don't know. I mean, I could probably throw a punch.
I know.
I know to tuck my thumb in.
My question is this.
Yeah.
Tuck your thumb in.
We'll talk. We're going to talk to Robbie because there are people that don't know how to throw a punch and they end up breaking their thumb.
Oh God! All right.
Right?
Well, we're going to
Like,
learn.
see,
We're going to learn a lot.
See,
Okay.
I'm one step ahead.
So would you go? What would it take for you to go into the octagon? No, seriously.
Against who? You?
No, like. Why did he say it like that?
Well, you're like a spider monkey. I don't know.
You
if
don't
I'd
know,
wanna
man.
fight you
I might
either.
bite. I might bite.
I was at that Tyson fight when he bit him.
So would you? What would it take for you to go in? Being against somebody my size?
No, I don't know. It'd have to be a big, giant charity thing where I was doing some good for a whole lot of people.
If I had a different head, I should have been a boxer. I think I could have been a boxer in my weight, in my division. I think I could have been a boxer.
You
bring in close, and I can.
You're
get
a
in
tough
there.
guy, man.
But
you're
not
in
my
good
face.
shape for your age.
But not my face, man.
It looks like you've been in a few fights.
Thank you. But my nose would not be able to take crap at all, and I've got glass eyebrows. They really hurt bad.
Oh, yeah.
And so I
just
but
don't
except
wanna
for
do it.
that, I would never go into. I'd go in with protection if you promise that I really can't get hurt with a friend that we're going to fight and spar, and try
It's not even that part too. I don't know that people realize. Like I have a heavy bag in the basement, and I work on that every once in a while. You do that for like 2 minutes straight.
Oh God,
you're dead.
Yeah, it's a lot of no. People have no idea with these MMA fighters what kind of shape they're truly in.
It's amazing. So
when your wife hears you on the heavy bag, does she know what's coming?
Well, first of all, let me be clear. I've not been on the heavy bag.
You hear what I'm saying?
In quite some time.
What does that mean then? I don't even know what that means.
It's not even hanging up anymore.
Sure. Oh, and you would do the housekeeping before I hit this thing, please.
Once again, we are a podcast that happens to have cameras. So, of course, to keep you going, audio in your car, wherever you are, anywhere you download and subscribe podcasts, Tom's World Beer Tour is there. iHeart, Stitcher, you name it. We're there. Spotify, of course, we're there. But on Facebook, you can watch us.
Yeah.
And it's not enough to like the page. I really need you to do me a favor and go up in the upper right corner and hit follow. Because when we publish an episode, you get a notification, sort of like, hey, Jim Johnson just posted, and so-and-so liked your post. And Tom's World Beer Tour posted a new video.
I feel like when you ask for that, you've almost got this televangelist thing coming on. But what
I'm not
I need you
asking
to
for
do,
money.
what I need you to do,
That's right.
is step forward, pick up that
Or you
phone.
can go to YouTube and you can subscribe. You can
God
always
is
email us at
waiting for your call.
tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. If you have your own whiskey ideas, send them my way.
We'd
We're
love
also
to hear
on
'em.
Twitter. We're also on Instagram, blah, 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 blah.
You
By the
tell
way,
me.
I have not picked up the horn again.
Yeah, I know. We don't have
still
any.
haven't.
We don't have accompaniment on this thing. But this is the Conversational Beer, and that means it's time to introduce our guest. And you're in charge of the cameras.
I'm going to turn him on in a second. By the
And
way,
so-
my mule is one.
Did you pound that thing?
Almost.
Are you serious? Good Lord, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
MMA, not only an incredible fighter in his own right, but also a fantastic trainer of champions. Rob Hulett. I like to call it Hulett's House of Pain.
How you doing, guys?
I don't know that that's correct or not, but
oh no, it happens.
but
it's
it
part
happens.
of it.
Seriously, man. You know what happened this weekend? Can we talk about that right off the bat?
I think we should because it's
Do you watch the big MMA fights?
I watch them quite often. Yeah.
Or is it like
Yeah.
Baskin Robbins for you? If you scoop ice cream, you don't want to go home and eat
Yeah.
it.
No, I watch it quite a bit when I have the chance.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get a little bit late and stuff. I'll watch them the next day or something.
I didn't see the video, and I don't want to watch it, but McGregor, who's very, I'm going to call him at the very least outspoken. He
was talking shit about the guy's wife while he was on the ground with a broken leg.
Yeah,
really?
He's such a deep
He's trying to get the guys to be. I've met McGregor a few times. He seems like a decent guy. He does go overboard. I mean, I think he goes past the line. But what he's trying to do, obviously, is get them where they're being more aggressive and not keeping their balance.
You forget your game.
Yeah, you forget your game, and that's what he's trying to do is throw the guys off their game. I think he's went a little too far, and it's got out of class. But
How did his leg get broken?
I think he checked it.
I
think he pre-checked it, and it just I think it's just like he said. I think.
Did he roundhouse and did it break on the roundhouse?
Yeah, he caught him. I think like near the knee, and when you check kicks, if you want, it's almost like a power check. You move your leg towards the kick.
I didn't even know what you
So
meant.
you're moving
You
the
meant
leg.
he was checking him like a little check. With
So the guy was
leg.
throwing the kick, and the other guy takes his leg and points his shin towards that kick.
Oh,
And
God.
so you're throwing the two are meeting at the same time. And so that's when I think it happened. But he landed back on it fine, and then it happened just a little bit later. Yeah. But I think that's what – it may not happen right then, but it did enough damage that it caused the other problem, I believe.
It was a 3-hour surgery.
Yeah.
Well, so he does that move, and then he puts his body weight back so that he can get ready to throw. I think that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And it just snap.
Damn.
It was disgusting. It was like Theismann, man.
I think he was when he started to twist. As he steps back on it, he starts to twist to throw his
So the
backhand.
damage was already done before he twisted, but the
I
twist
think so,
sure
yeah.
as hell didn't help it.
No.
That probably ground the bones together. Ugh.
Yeah.
Do you think that the adrenaline from the fight is why he can still sit there and talk shit?
Most fighters, if they've had quite a bit of experience, they're pretty good about dealing with pain. It's not. It's part of daily
How many bones have
training
you
and
broken
everything.
fighting?
Fighting just my nose, and that's it.
Just your
That's
nose.
pretty good.
Just your nose.
Yeah.
Were you the biggest guy in school for the majority of your life?
No, I was medium sized, if not small. When I was just thinking about this the other day because my boy's quite a bit, but 20 pounds heavier than me at his age. When I was a freshman, I weighed 125 pounds.
No.
When I was
That was the same weight that I was as a freshman.
Yeah, when I was a junior, I weighed 160 pounds. By the time I was a senior, I weighed 185, 195.
You guys went down the wrong path.
Yeah. Well, no, he went down a different path than I did.
Total different path.
Different path. You were playing ball. You were playing football back in the day.
Yeah.
And you were destined to be a much taller person.
Yeah, that's what everybody. That's what the doctors and everybody says.
He was. No, he was. Well, you had an injury.
Yes.
What was the injury?
The drunk driver ran into me. And crushed my right knee. It's all steel now, but it tore up so badly that it ruined all the growth plates and everything.
Oh my god!
Amazing.
So
yeah.
Does that So one knee and you got the growth plates, but does that affect everything? You didn't grow up like this, did you?
A little bit,
a little sideways,
a tiny bit. So it affected my back and stuff later. Yeah.
Can we bring? How tall are you?
About 6'3", almost 6'2" and a half.
And Tom, you said you're what?
I'm 6'1".
So he's taller than you, bud. Can we bring your hands together in front of one of the cameras?
Yeah, we'll do it in front of his. Oh my God!
Right. It's
I don't have a small hand.
No, you don't.
Let's
no,
put it, go
you don't
right
at all.
There.
Can we see it on there?
Yeah, you see Rob. He can
and
curl
pull,
his fingers
pull your
over.
hand away and just show the size of that paw. It is huge. Make a fist for me. I swear, make a fist. Look at the size of that thing. It's a monster hand. So
I have a picture of me. I find it pretty quick with
is this
Holyfield?
Evander Holyfield?
Yeah, remember where it's up against my jaw?
Is this where you put and you bite the other earlobe a little bit?
No.
Okay. Because he keeps that one in a
I'll
different
put it on
place.
my camera. But you can see your fist is like his. So there's his fist on my jaw if you're watching. If you're not watching, let me just explain it. Evander Holyfield is a big dude. I think your fist is bigger.
Yeah,
I'm not putting my jaw over there to find out. I'm just telling you. I think it's
a big. You got an iron knee. Are you allowed in the octagon with an iron knee? And I know you're not fighting anymore, but
I guess you could be. I don't know.
You
have no idea. I don't know if
you
that's
don't tell him.
It's not his fault.
But when you were a kid, did you get in fights?
Well, I had a share of them, but I usually it was very rare that I started them. But yeah, I got.
Were you like one of these gentle giant kind of guys, or what?
I guess I didn't start stuff. I have I was one of those people that you just get they pick at or bug me, or something bugs me, and then all of a sudden I blow up. Most of the time I'm really pretty easy going.
Okay, let's don't
I'm
be
sorry.
repetitious and crap with them tonight.
That was also the whole story behind the Hulk.
Yeah, that's right. You won't like me when I'm angry. But it was going from, and football is a very controlled. The ball is centered, and then it happens for about 7.3 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm gonna guess middle linebacker.
I played linebacker and later on when I got bigger, I played a lot of defensive tackles.
Because those hands, think about it. You have to reach out and you're grabbing a piece of jersey. You're trying to grab a calf. You're trying to grab a shoulder. That's the kind of hands that get that stuff.
Is your wingspan?
I am 6'3", and my whatever. It's 9 inches more than I am.
I told you. 9 inches.
9 inches taller.
Which, by the way, in MMA world, I don't know about kicking because I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
In boxing, that's a huge reach.
Maybe it's more than it's 84 inches.
Versus 75 inches.
Damn, I always have a tape measure down there. I don't have.
So
that's about right. 9 inches.
9 inches.
Yeah.
9 inches. That's amazing. The thing is, and I'm sure you know this, people like us, we had our 2 fights, right?
Oh, what were your 2 fights?
One was in grade school, and the other one was in high school.
Yeah, that's it.
And that was and I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't like fighting. I watched my older brother was really, really tough, and he wasn't scared of anybody. So his was generally about 1 or 2 punches, and the other guy goes down, and he'd say, "Let's don't have this ever again," and he'd walk away the commanding champion. Me, I'm like, "Hey, let's talk about things. Do we really need to fight about this?"
Was your voice changing?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to fight you.
I haven't even finished puberty yet. Now I sound like a Charlie in the box.
No.
So, no, seriously. I mean, most of us, no matter how macho we act, we don't want to fight. You probably fought when you had to because they pushed you.
Yeah. I usually, honestly, most fighters that people get a bad concept of the fighters a lot of times. Most of the guys that are experienced and done it very much, they really avoid it for the most part outside of MMA. Right. They get enough of that in the ring and stuff and practices. They try to avoid it most of the time.
And MMA, as we know it, hasn't been around. I mean, it's been around longer than we probably know.
Yeah.
But at what point did you go to boxing first? Did you go to martial arts first? Did you?
I had wrestling, and then I went down and played some arena football. And while I was playing it, a friend of he knew I was having problems with my knee and it was bugging me a lot. He mentioned that he was doing MMA, and at the time you couldn't see it was on TV, but you could see it on DVDs and stuff like that. You could see some. He said, "Oh, we're training some of this back here in Columbia," and I ended up moving up here and started training in it, and that's where I started.
How old were you at that time?
20. I'm trying to remember exactly. It's been a while, but
wait, you're not trying to figure out how old you are right now, are you?
26, something like that.
Which is about 10 years later than you're starting training guys now.
Yeah,
right?
so yeah.
And I say guys, and when I say guys, I mean
men.
No, boys and girls.
Yeah,
but they're.
We train even 5 and 6 year olds now, but it's getting where the kids really enjoy it, and the parents are starting to bring it.
So is this the new karate classes that kids would go to?
I think so. They still have a lot of the karate classes and stuff, but this is to me, it's a better if you're wanting to learn self-defense and learn something that you can actually works over. It's a better art altogether.
It's still a discipline.
Yeah, it's still
and it
very disciplined. It's just a mix of a lot of them.
When you were fighting, were you? I don't want to use a stupid word, but were you a champion?
Yeah, I did real well. Yeah.
But
I
ain't getting in no ring.
Can I ask a question? It's really important.
Yeah, it's a conversational beer.
Where the hell is it?
It's right here.
Sorry, Rob. We
hadn't done anything yet.
We played the music. We introduced the guest, and then we all sat here dry.
I'm sorry.
Tom's World Beer Tour.
Because there was a chance that you guys might be drinking some whiskey. I didn't want to have something that would really completely demolish your palate.
Okay.
So I found something that was reasonable. Plus, I don't know what Rob goes for if he is drinking a beer. So I went for something that was smooth and easy. I went for a brown, and something I haven't had in a long time. And I'm going to go to Avery Brewing out of Colorado, out of Boulder, Colorado. I love Boulder. Boulder's
Isn't that where Mork and Mindy were from?
That's exactly right. That's where he landed in his little egg. This would be from Avery Brewing, and it's Ellie's Brown.
Ellie's Brown.
And I think Ellie is the chocolate lab on the beer can.
Loyal, friendly, mellow. I'm going to say because right on the side of the can it says loyal, friendly, mellow, which is how you would describe your best friend, your dog.
Yeah, and every chocolate lab is mellow when they hit about 10 years of age. So that's exactly right.
Have you ever had a chocolate lab?
What do you mean by had?
Owned? Have you owned?
No.
I mean, you got a golden retriever.
Just walks along with it.
I know.
Here we go. No, I've never had a Labrador.
Cheers to you. Cheers to Rob.
Cheers.
Cheers to Bad Roadie. Bad Roadie doesn't get one?
I really am a crappy little
I'm on the big – by the way,
apologize.
For those of you that are watching right now, this is – when we do the show from here and the Bad Roadies here, this is the wide shot. This is like the behind-the-scenes shot.
You've got it now on the video?
Yeah, it's been on for a little while, actually.
Okay.
So when you had to go dive into the cooler –
everybody got to see me do that.
Beer. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a cooler diver from way back.
Yeah.
So –
excuse me?
How many years were you fighting?
Since 19 –
oh, that's good.
96, 97.
That you were fighting?
That I started.
When did you stop?
It's been about.
Outside as he was walking in.
It's been about 20 years, 20, 21, 22 years.
It's
now.
been that long since you've been in
I'm
there.
52, so.
Okay.
You're 52?
Yeah.
I'm 52. You make me look like 62, for God's sakes.
No, I mean, you've kept yourself in phenomenal shape. You really have. But I think your training and leading by example forces that. As you look at your life right now, do you see yourself, if you're dead and gone tomorrow, were you a trainer and teacher, or were you an MMA fighter?
Oh, I enjoyed it when I fight, but I really believe that I really enjoy the training and training guys a lot more than I did the fighting. I don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the fighting, but I think you get a lot more out of it. I do get a lot more out of training guys and things like that.
I really see the passion. You know, you've been on my radio show a number of times, and you've brought your fighters on there. Some as young as what, 14?
Yeah, my boy is 7-0, and he went
and
when
we've
he
been
was
to
14.
events.
Yeah,
We've done some stuff at the Harley shop.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, you, Dave Grohl, and I are all the same age, and I look like shit. So congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Jeez Louise, what am I doing wrong?
You look good, man. You
Hanging
look
out
good.
with you, that's the
Come
problem.
on, you look good. Have
It's-
another drink.
It's a little easier when you have a gym, obviously.
That's probably
Once
probably
again,
a part of it.
Look around. I don't have a gym.
Yeah, that's that's
Your
good there too.
Your son is. This has got to be an interesting thing for you because you're training a lot of different people out there, and you started training years ago.
Yeah.
I would imagine some of those that you train in MMA have actually retired out of the octagon by now.
Oh yeah.
What's the lifespan? Probably not the best way to put it, but what's the career length for an average MMA fighter?
It's getting longer and longer, but
What's
and
doing
it
that?
depends.
Is it
I mean,
training that's doing
Couture went for a long time. Other
Yeah.
guys can't go as long. That's just the same as football and there's
Is it-
especially contact sports.
Decade?
Yeah, I would say a decade at your you're a decade when you're close to your peak.
So in the beginning, the guys were probably more like Clint Eastwood, and now they're nutrition and training and
the nutrition, the training, the people are better about the safety and even when I started, we'd go at it a lot harder than we do now in practice. We still have our hard sparring sessions once a week. But it used to be every practice. Now we've changed a little bit.
So it's like a baseball, like a starting pitcher. He goes out for a start, then the next day he might does a little short toss, then he does some long toss.
Yeah.
You can't go back-to-back days usually.
No, I mean, like I said, we can, but it's not. It doesn't end up good in the long run. It doesn't help, and that's part of experience, and just as people learn how they're training. A lot of guys, a lot of people, they don't spar, but hard spar, but once a month. But we usually do it about every once a week.
I mean, you do have to hard spar often enough that it's not a big surprise and an anxiety.
Yeah, it's that, and then timing. I mean, the biggest is timing. The timing changes so much from doing some soft sparring and drilling to when everybody's adrenaline's flowing a little bit, moving back and forth. It's a change. That change that. The timing is the biggest thing. I don't know how to say it. It's just mostly just the timing. Right. And then we bring in, like the pros, we bring in new guys from St. Louis and Kansas City and different areas off and on, so we can just check, hey, there's something they're not seeing in practice because we're not a huge gym, so we got to see a little bit different looks. So we bring in some people to get us different looks and stuff.
So do you feel like I've been in sports radio for a long time, and I used to go to big heavyweight fights and all that. Do you and that's you talk about some corrupt people. I mean, big fights.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
MMA is sort of becoming more prevalent than boxing. I think people like watching it more. Like sports bars really advertise, hey, we got UFC.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is it now, 326, whatever the latest one is, which used to be boxing, right? We all used to watch Tyson. You pay your $50, and if you stop to get snacks for a second, you miss the whole damn thing.
Very true.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, the legitimacy of what UFC has done, do you feel like it's set itself away from the boxing community? Is it run better in general? And I use UFC because I know there's other sanctioning bodies, but UFC is the one that most people know.
I'm sure there's a lot more going on in the background. There's like
Dana's
anything.
and there's Dana White. And all that.
But it's right now. It is right now. You don't have quite as much corruption and things as there's been obvious in boxing.
Well, in
boxing also
like
started way back before they had. That you could see, it's not as obvious to everybody.
There's 3 sanctioning bodies for the same weight class, and you're like, who's the legit? Who's
and
the
that's
best?
going to happen. It's going to happen.
But that's not happening in MMA, is it?
Well, it happens in the amateurs and the lower level pros, but it doesn't happen in the bigger leagues because it's ran by organizations, so it's not sanctioning bodies for it. Now that's probably going to change a little bit. It'll change when the amateur, whenever it gets into the Olympics, you'll have one main sanctioning body, but you'll have all these little ones jumping in.
Before we go further, I want to establish something so people understand. You're not here because you're a specialist on knowing MMA around the world. You're here, well, you're here because you're a friend. But I mean, and you like drinking with us on a podcast. But I mean, you're training. You have trained some champions already.
Yes.
Would you just explain that quickly, and then we'll go back in? But I want people to understand the credentials you bring to the table as a trainer here at your little gym in the middle of the Midwest.
I've trained with Woodley, Askren, a multitude of others. I'd have to write a nice little list. I have one kid that started with me, with the very first kid I ever trained, got into the UFC recently, Kevin Kroom. He doesn't train with me now, but he used to. There's been several in my brain's just not working all of a sudden, but there's been several in Bellator and one and some other organizations that are working their way up fast. And now we have some guys. I have 5 pros. One of them's 11-3 is boxer. And he's been even on HBO. I have Darian Weeks, who's probably has the best record, has some real big stuff coming up. He's 5-0 as a pro. Will Starks has fought in Dubai, met Dana White.
You've taken your fighters to Dubai.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing that and people here would be like, I'm sorry, what? And you're like, yeah. Are those called the Worlds or no?
Well, the Dubai one was pro fights. It was actually Khabib's big show that he had in Dubai, and
that's insane there. I mean, people go to Vegas and they walk around looking at the lights and everything. You go to Dubai.
Yeah,
that's the future.
Cow, man.
We went to Dubai, Bahrain. We went. We were supposed to have a big trip to China. That changed.
Yep.
But we've been quite a few places. Yeah.
Wow, that's just absolutely amazing. You said your son is, what is the record right now?
Well, he's 7-0, but he did that between 14 and 16.
So how does discipline work in your house?
Yeah. If Dad messes up, his son kicks his ass.
Do you guys have to go like 2 rounds to say yes, you got to clean your room, or no, you're not cleaning your room? How does that work?
I've been lucky, and I suspect in a few years he'll be able to kick my butt. But
isn't that the sign of every father who has a son? You go, listen, I can whoop your ass, and then when they're like, you're looking at them, you're like, I got to find another form of
You got to make the transition. You got to make it nicely.
I'm gonna have a nice taser hang on.
That's fine.
Cane with a taser on the end of it.
I brought you into this world. I can tase you out. It doesn't have the same.
That's nice, actually.
I don't think it has.
That was pretty good.
I don't think it has the same draw.
That was really good. How old is he now?
He's just turned 16. Yeah.
He just turned 16.
About a month ago. Yeah.
He's fought 7 times. He's won every one.
Yeah.
And how big is he?
He's 16 and weighs 180 pounds.
Yeah. Wow. Is he as tall as you?
No, he's probably 6 foot.
But let's explain that. What's it, 185?
Yeah, 180, 185.
Let's explain what that 185 is. That is not the doughboy going through puberty 185. I guarantee you.
He is even strong for his size. I mean, he's really.
Does he have your hands? Is he like a puppy? He's got the big paws.
Poor kid has the big old hands on him too.
Which is awkward when you're 16.
He's gonna be a big lad.
I imagine he's gonna be like 6'5".
I'm pretty sure when he goes to like take a date to like a school dance or something, and the father and he sees these hands,
they reach out to shake.
Nice to see you, sir. And like,
yeah.
All right, congratulations.
Here's my daughter.
What time would you like to bring my daughter home?
Next week. I'll see you next week.
Here's my credit card. See you later.
But she's gonna have a great time. Anyway, he is undefeated. What's it gonna be like if he loses? His dad is the ultimate trainer.
Oh, I'm sure it'll happen one of these days.
Got to clean the gutters.
He wrestles and plays football, so you need to have the competition. So he's been starting varsity in wrestling, and he's lost his share. He's done well, but he's lost his share. He almost got into state this year and lost a few, but he's coming right along and doing really well.
It's a different discipline, though.
How do you wrestle and not elbow somebody really hard?
Yeah, I know.
Well, we've changed it. Like I said, that's why he stopped fighting, is because he was doing a few things in wrestling that he shouldn't do. because he had been doing the MMA training too. So he'd get in a few positions.
So like a forearm bar you can't do in regular wrestling is what you're saying?
No, very true. But he didn't do that. But he would give his back up and do a few things. He'd roll to his back and do a few things that he thought he could roll through, and he couldn't. Yeah. And he's not used to. Okay, I can't do that because I'm in wrestling.
Plus, let's be honest. The outfit for wrestling versus MMA,
yeah,
way cooler than MMA. The singlet is the worst uniform ever.
Is this a stupid question? Is the grappling different because of what they have on their hands?
So a little bit. The grappling's a little different. Like they were talking about with the Connor fight, he was gripping the glove and throwing the kicks, which, that's...
Hey, man, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying,
That's what I'm saying. It's not... Well, it's not necessarily cheating either, unless he just has his fingers all the way down in it. You're just gripping on
don't
something,
wear gloves. Then there you go.
I mean, that was the only thing I didn't quite agree with. He's like, oh, he was cheating. Well, that's kind of on the line. That's not really. That's just using.
I mean, what's in an MMA fight like that? What is considered going over the line or quote unquote cheating?
That's a great question because I don't understand it.
I don't know if I can figure it out.
It would be tough. You could let the bigger things are that people put their fingers all the way in the gloves. That is, you can't do that.
No eye gouging.
There's no those obvious rules.
There'll be none of this.
You'll get the guys that will grab the fence, throw it for a knee or something, and that's illegal.
You can't grab the fence.
They have the prototypical 5 Three Stooges rules, and then the other things.
Yeah,
so you can't do any of that stuff.
So you can't grab the fence. I mean, basic rules are.
So you can't. In other words, you can't grab the fence to give you leverage to pull him into
or
you.
Say somebody's picking somebody up to throw them. Grab the fence to catch the balance, so you can keep your balance.
Oh God, that'd be really hard not to.
Yeah, and
your
usually
would be like, no, don't throw me.
And usually you get a warning. They're not going to. And then so you can't kick. You can't kick or knee anybody if they have 3 points on the ground.
So
I'm sorry,
two knees and an elbow.
So if your knees are on the ground, that's counted as because your feet are on the ground. That's counted as 4 points. But you can't have 3 points on the ground. So I could have. If you could have your both hands, one hand on the ground and your feet, and that's 3 points.
Or if I put one knee down,
that's 3 points.
That's 3 points.
Okay, so in other words, a guy's down on all fours and looks up at you. You can't just take your knee and swipe him in the head.
Right. Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
Is that hard to keep from doing? I mean, seriously.
The problem is when you're introducing takedowns and everything else. That's where the ref becomes really important. There, a good ref, because. Say I'm shooting at him, he just happens to be throwing the knee at the same time. Which started first? Did your shot start first?
So
or did the knee start first?
There's discretion with the. Is there any officials that guys walk in and don't want to see? Like a lot of these guys by name, right?
Yeah,
like Johnson.
We've had some refs that they're trying. I'm not, but they were pretty rough in the beginning. Some of them now I still know them. They're getting better and better, and then there's. Yeah.
Would you ref some? Is that something that you've done, or would you be interested in that?
No, probably not.
I'd rather just beat
because you want to have your fighters out there.
I like to have my fighters out there, and I just the reffing is just it's. I'm not saying I don't. I get mad at them, but I don't feel sorry for it. It's a hard thing to do.
Oh, you know what they say? Those that can't officiate.
Yeah, I mean that was one of those things that I wanted to bring up with asking you about being a fighter and then being a trainer, and those who can do and those who can't teach, and it's like. I don't think that's the case. I think you fought and you enjoyed it and you did very well. You actually see yourself in your heart as being more of a teacher and a trainer.
Yes, now I do.
And that's going to be your legacy.
Yeah.
You're also something else. This is really – I just thought of this. You're also a promoter.
Yeah.
Is that out of necessity?
Yeah, that was out of necessity. I mean, it's here now, and I do well with it, so it all works into the whole.
Have you ever thought about combining forces and having Missouri Fight Fest?
Where you well, we've combined forces a couple of times, but I was just thinking about the fact that when you go out and you put on and I've helped you promote these, but it's your event, and I'm just a vehicle for it. I watch your fighters out there when they come out, when they greet. Then when they get themselves pumped up and when they start that first round, it's usually 3 rounds, right?
Right. Unless it's a title fight, yeah.
And they start it and they go after it when they're finished, even if it was a knockout, including possibly knocked out.
Right.
The care they have for each other, the appreciation they have for each other, it's as real and as good as anybody could ever ask for in any sport, and that's all I've ever seen in MMA
respect
at the fights I've gone to.
I mean, there always is. situations where that's not true, but for most part, that's part of why I love it. I've been in the football and wrestling and all the sports, and wrestling's close, but football, football not near as much, but MMA, it's not a team sport, but I'm telling you, the guys,
But I've seen
they pretty much have a good respect for each other.
They
all
do
the way
rally around each other,
which I really enjoy.
So then let me ask you this: in the youth sports, I bring this up because I've coached youth football and things, and we have parents that we have to talk to parents ahead of the season. Hey, man, don't go in and start fights with officials and all that stuff. I would have to say, any kind of youth MMA, there's not a single parent that's trying to start a fight.
No,
right? Not once.
We've had him cause a little problems here and there, but it's rare.
But then once you walk out and go, we need to go outside and have a conversation, they sit right the hell down. Right?
They don't start a fight with you.
And I told you that the greatest advice I ever got before I started coaching kids sports was the first thing you do is send the kids with an ice cream cone or anything off to the side.
Oh, yeah.
Have a parent meeting.
Yep.
And sit down and explain to them what you're going to do, what your expectations are, and what their job as parents is. Do you do that with parents when they enroll in your MMA?
No, not. We tell them. I tell them what to expect. We don't have anybody under 18. We don't let them hit each other in the head at all. Just because we'll have them spar because it's good for them, but we don't have them strike their head at all because you just don't want them.
Now,
to
do they wear headgear also?
We do have them wear headgear also,
but they're not even allowed to take a swing at the head.
But it happens. I mean,
sure.
Lucas, like I said, in his fights every time he got hit once, at least. So
right.
Stuff does happen, but I explain it to the parents and everything, and they. I've been lucky that we haven't had any problem with the parents, understanding it.
One of the things I've never enrolled in any kind of or martial arts training. But someone asked me years ago, why would you want to take something like that? And I explained it. And they were like, good. Some people want to take it just so they can go out and kick somebody's ass. And I'm like,
discipline is what
I actually was interested in taking it so that I would never feel like wanting to.
Yeah.
And do you ever have anybody
Instead, you sat home and watched episodes of Kung Fu? It's not the same thing.
Right.
You know that, right?
With David Carradine, that was good stuff.
Yeah, but that,
even the theme song gets me kind of misty.
It's a little different than actually going and doing it.
Have you had some people enroll with you and they're like, he got beat up at school and I want him to enroll?
Oh, yeah.
And that's not the right reason, is it?
No. I mean, they don't come and tell me that exactly, but they said they have been having troubles. And, it's good for the kids to learn how to defend themselves. And I think it's more about them learning how to defend themselves, but also becoming confident. And the more confident you become, the less likely those things happen. Because the people that are bullies, let's face it, most time see the weakness, even if they don't know they see it. They see the weakness and are going see the weakness and they're using it to tease the kids or promote.
We got plenty of time left. I wanted to pull the wide cam on for a reason real quick. I want to take advantage of
I'm looking over.
So for those of you that are watching, stand up real quick. So 6'1", 262 is what I weigh right now.
Uh-huh. Are you guys going to –
I'm going to stand next to – listen.
Tail of the tape over here?
No, just look. I'm just going to just look at any of these.
Look at –
holy shit.
What's the holy shit?
Dude, I'm not a tiny guy. Big Ginger is my nickname on your other radio show.
Put your arm around it. Let me see.
Look how tiny I look. This is ridiculous.
Look at that paw. It's like some Sasquatchian paw you've got there. Are your feet big?
14s, yeah.
14s?
Are you married? Do you have a steady girlfriend?
I'm married.
Wow.
Well, kids.
Congratulations. Well, of course you have kids. How could you not? Jesus Christ.
14s. Well, Chris, what size shoe do you wear? 12. 12 is reasonable. What do you have?
13.
Well, that's pretty good size.
But the rumor is that the tip of your middle finger to your wrist is like, congratulations.
Oh, you're junk?
How in the hell is he walking around, for God's sake? It's not that kind of show.
So they must have had a harness. They put that thing back.
Don't you think
the judge had to come out there and be like, I'm sorry, sir. This is an illegal extra limb you have in the octagon.
Don't you think when he's single and women are out dating, and don't you think women look for things like tall guy, good-looking man,
big hands?
Did you see his hands?
I don't know. Do they?
Do
they say that?
I don't know what they say.
We're guys. We would think they say that. Yeah.
I mean,
you'd like to think so. Yeah.
You would hope so.
Jesus Christ.
How do you like the Ellie's Brown? Is it working for you over there?
No, it's not bad. I like it. I enjoy it.
Hey, can we talk about your daughter for a second? Is your daughter doing any of this MMA?
She does. She mostly likes painting, but she's.
Wait a second. You laughed at that. What was the laugh at that? It was.
Can
we talk about your daughter? What about the women?
Yeah, that's true. That was horrible segue. I didn't even think about it.
It wouldn't have been if you wouldn't have opened your mouth.
I think maybe pass
If you
it
wouldn't
on.
have choked on your beer, we might have been okay.
Dude, I love that. That was a high-pitched laugh. I don't know if they picked it up, but
No,
I could hear
heard it. Do you know what? So I coach play-by-play guys. Here's what I tell them: when you stumble on something and you make a mistake, keep on going as if it didn't happen.
Yeah, but he's not going to let that.
No, of course not.
I didn't do anything.
The reason I bring it up is because we're 45 minutes in. We're digging into stuff. But I don't want to forget this because your daughter not only does some MMA, but she's into painting now, and I wanted him to show this painting.
Can you bring it up and show us?
Yeah.
For those of you that are watching, I want you to see. Yeah, that's
Is
perfect.
that a good shot?
That's a great shot. Because not only is his family, he has a son who fights and all this other stuff and does sports.
That's beautiful.
That's amazing.
How old is she?
She is 18. She just turned 18.
Wow,
Is
this really
is this the
beautiful.
path she's going down? Is she?
Yeah, she's going to
Graphic
obviously
arts
she'd
and
probably
things like
do
that.
the graphic arts or something. She's trying to
It's a
figure that
little
out a
bit.
little
She's
bit.
actually going to dabble with painting with blood from an MMA match. Which,
How,
by
you
the
never
way,
know. She might try that.
the blood does fly, doesn't it?
Oh yes.
Wow. Wait a minute. I think you may have just given her an idea.
Well, it's
might
a
have.
multimedia sort of a thing going on
We
there.
had a show at the Blue Note, and this is by far worst I've ever seen ever. Is two guys, both of them broke their nose in the fight, and so
Boy, that hurts.
you know that the fights don't stop because of broken noses, but they're just bleeding like crazy.
So in other words,
mean,
you continue to get hit in the face with a broken nose?
Oh yeah, everybody unless
I'm out.
unless somebody taps or stops, unless they stop it. They
out.
So blood's just spraying. They hit. It looks like you turned on you wash your vehicle or something.
Remember before when you asked me
It
what
was
it would
bad.
take to get in the ring? Nothing now.
Nothing now.
Nothing.
No,
anyway.
but it does.
And then the
I mean,
guys
it
made
happens.
me set their nose after they got out.
Oh, Jesus. And you did it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. Dr. Rob stepped up there. What's the worst place that you bled from during a fight?
Oh, you have your little cuts and stuff, but
Every your eyebrow, because I was talking about my glass eyebrows, because mine would get ripped horribly.
You get a few cuts up there.
That's what
that's kind of
Vaseline
bad.
is for. That's why they
That's
put
kind of bad
Vaseline
because it
on.
runs in the eye. But honestly, the broken nose is probably one of the worst things because it's real painful, and if you take any more hits,
And your eyes water and you can't see anything.
And that's
well, you
the
can,
problem.
but it's not very fun.
That's
for
the
sure.
problem with a bar fight. If all you got to do is just get one quick pop in somebody's nose, and that's it because it hurts so bad.
You know what? Let me tell you, a buddy of mine who's approximately my age,
Yeah.
and he's involved with a great establishment here in town. At one time, he owned also a bar that was more of a bar, especially on Friday and Saturday nights. And I ran into him at a Monday or Tuesday, and I looked at him. I said, Chris, what the hell happened to you? He goes, geez. There was a fight at the bar Saturday night, and I tried to break it up. Now, this is about 8 years ago, but we're both about 50 years old. And I go, oh, no. He goes, I have no business doing that. He goes, and here's what he said. The thing about these kids today, 21, 22 years old, they grew up watching MMA.
Oh yeah.
So when they get in some kind of little bar ramble and they've got 8, 10 drinks in them, they're like this and everything and going to town because they've learned how to fight differently than like
well, they
Mild
come
Man did.
through with a punch and they finish it with an elbow.
Yeah. So he had his face pummeled, and he's like, Jesus. And it was like, and I think both of them turned on him. They forgot they were fighting each other.
They
turned on-
joined forces.
Yeah. And so, no, it's true, though, isn't it? There are people street fighting today a lot nastier than they did back in the day because they learned from MMA.
Yeah, they learn it from MMA. I'm sure we get guys that stop in. I've had calls before. What did you teach this guy because he caused some problems and that stuff? And I can tell you, 100%
like it's your fault?
Yeah, and it is true.
Is it like over-serving
and-
somebody at a bar and they go get in a wreck and
I
you're
overserved him
responsible?
with instruction.
But I will say 100% of the time, and I've had quite a few of these calls. 100% of the time, it's somebody that came in for a couple months, 2 or 3 months, and left. It's not the regular fighters.
They were looking to
It's-
beat somebody's ass.
They were looking to beat somebody's ass, or they wanted to come in. A lot of times, what it is, they wanted to come in and prove they were Billy Badass, and they come in and they get their butt beat there because they, that's not what we're about. But if you go in and you're practicing one with the pros, and you go sitting there trying to knock his head off, well, of course you're going to get beat up a little bit.
All right,
Right.
so let me
That's
ask you
part of
this
it.
then,
Yeah.
and this is a serious question. Because of your training, do you have to really think about stuff when you're out? Like if somebody, let's say you're out with your family, and somebody does something inappropriate, or somebody ends up pushing your wife or whatever, do you have to think for a second, if I hit this guy and something bad happens to him and they find out what I do, is that going to come back to haunt you? Like, you don't like go out with like a card around your neck that says, "Don't f with me because I'm an MMA fighter."
You wear a championship belt out there.
Most of the time, I rarely. It would have to take a serious situation. The only time I really ever been in fights and start hitting people is when there's 3 or 4, and I don't want to get tied up with them.
But you could probably
otherwise most of the time I just subdue them.
But if you're sitting at a table and somebody bumps into you and starts talking shit, you just stand up and you put your hand out and say, "Nice to meet you," and it's like, "All right, I'm good."
Yeah, but the problem is, and I've never experienced this is when you're a bigger guy, you'll have somebody, especially if they're intoxicated, they pick you out in the room and they decide they want to prove something by going after you. Nobody wants to prove anything by going after me, so it's never happened in my life. But I'll bet you've had some guys try to
That's the prison rule. You find the biggest guy and you punch him in the face.
Right.
I've had quite a bit of it. I'm lucky it doesn't happen much. About one of the few places I drink, I usually after fights is when I drink.
Yeah.
And most of the time,
Thank God you're not doing it before.
Most of the time it's in Columbia. And luckily, I don't have that happen very often in Columbia anymore. If it does start to happen, somebody walks behind the guy and says something, then he just walks off, and I don't have to deal
You need
with
more
it, so.
gray. You got way too much California.
I get a little bit of gray
beach.
there, but not much.
There's all this blonde going on. You still look young.
Once again, we are the same age.
When you get more gray,
Holy
people will be
shit.
like, "Leave the old man alone. He's relaxing with his grandchildren right now."
But,
that's what you need.
I'm gonna start carrying a cane into bars.
That's a great idea.
Jesus.
So here's I'll show you this. This is a picture of me when I was 22.
Yeah, let's see that.
See
Yeah. Oh my God, I wouldn't fight this guy either.
Look at the hands.
Oh God!
Holy shit!
The hand is the same size as your waist.
Okay, if I do this
Wow.
in the camera for those who are watching, if I showed you just the hands, you'd go, "Oh my God, this is an animal. This is."
Wow.
And then I go, "Hi."
We just went dark.
Dude,
Tell me-
you're like a Great Dane puppy.
You really are.
You had the paws first.
You're
shit.
what's your greatest and your worst workout routine? What's the thing that you love to do and you really don't need to do any more of, and the thing that you hate to do?
We love.
You personally.
Personally, the wall work. You go against the wall. And you just work against the wall, representing the cage. You know,
Like,
What does that mean?
What do you
cage
mean?
wall. It's you're up against the wall. You're pressuring him to the wall, and you're hand fighting.
well, you're
there,
talking about
dirty
sparring.
fighting. Yeah.
I'm talking about just simply your
just working out.
your workout.
conditioning.
Conditioning. Thank you.
Favorite.
What's the thing?
Favorite probably is we do a workout where it's the same kind of thing. Your two guys are pushing on each other, and one's giving a little bit, and you're hand fighting as you do it, and we'll go back and forth,
Okay.
back and forth, back
All
and
right,
forth.
not really a fight, but just
Yeah.
pushing.
Pushing and then hand fighting.
And
with
you
it
love
just
that. What's the one that you can't stand because you just don't like it?
sprints? Nobody likes sprints.
Nobody likes sprints.
In MMA, do you do what wrestlers do? Do you put your partner on the back and run up some hill?
We've done that. We've done all kinds
So where I grew, you know Barbecue Matt, right?
Yeah,
Barbecue
yeah,
Matt. So where we grew up in California, there was a hill called Wyckoff. So everybody in California that we grew up with is immediately listening to this going, "Holy shit, I hate Wyckoff." Wyckoff was this ridiculous hill. And wrestlers, you had to put your partner, same weight class, on your back and run up the hill. No, why?
Like piggyback style.
Yeah, why am I doing that? And then they would
And
turn
then you
around
switch.
and change places. Yeah, I mean, it's not like
Well,
one guy
then
in
you
the back
get a-
going, "Woo!"
Then you get a rest. Yeah.
It ain't that. It's like,
So that's, I mean, and do you find that with your fighters that you're training? It's like, oh, why do we got to do the sprints? Not more of that.
They despise my
is there
cardio.
road work? Is that
They
something
despise
with
my
you guys?
cardio.
Is running part of this?
The guys that once they get to the higher level pro, Darian, Will, Dallas, they all do extra conditioning on the side.
And do you
besides
call
what
it
we
road
do.
work? Is it go out?
We
and
don't
get
really call it road work, but it's that.
Is it
I mean,
is it 3 miles?
They
Is
said
that
that
like
in Rocky.
well,
That's what I took it
yeah,
from Rocky.
yeah. No, it's good.
Darian does 3 miles about I think 2 or 3 times a week. Besides his all his
But
other-
at the
I
end-
still refer to it as road work.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, okay, so a normal fight, not a championship, a normal fight's 3 rounds, 2 minutes.
3 rounds, 5 minutes each round.
No, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm out.
For amateurs, 3. For
So
pros,
it's 15 minutes of actual.
Yeah, well, that's if it's a title bout, it's 25. And like when we have our sparring weekend, when we're doing sparring on Saturdays and stuff, we will do 4 or 5 5-minute rounds of with full shin guards and everything, and then 4 or 5-minute round, 4 or 5 5-minute rounds
With the same 2 people?
Well, we have the guys that rotate with each other, but everybody's working out the whole time. So a lot of the guys.
That's what I mean. But you're doing, one person is doing all of those rounds.
Yeah, so we're about an hour and a half of rounds with 1-minute breaks for the guys that are the newer people, the high-level amateurs and the pros do them all.
Okay.
But a lot of the newer guys start falling off.
So for those of you guys listening to this right now, here's what I want you to do. If you're not driving, don't do this while you're driving. That would be bad. If you're watching us or you're listening and you're stand up in your living room right now and tell Siri to set a timer for 5 minutes, and I want you to just like jog in place.
Which is about a 16th of anything close
I want
to
you
actually
to,
taking.
just do one of these little things, right?
Leaving
for
the
5
ground?
minutes. Yeah,
Leaving
for
the
5 minutes. I want you to do like high lunges for 5 minutes.
Chris, would you do that in the background for me?
Yeah, we'll
just
set a
to see?
timer. And then just tell me how you feel.
I mean, honestly, let's don't talk about us, all right? Because we're at our what are we, Silver Fox years? I think now. Is that what
I think they call it the worst.
The worst. Let's talk about somebody 35 years old, general American guy, right now. How long could they last without pain or anything else going on? Just the physical stamina of being in a round. How long could they last?
Most have a little adrenaline and stuff, so they get through the first 5 minutes, and the second 5 minutes they fall off. They can't.
They'd be
keep up.
done.
Yeah. As long if they're going and keeping the push the whole time and they're not resting very much. Yeah.
So if you're a 35, 40-year-old guy and you're looking to do some good cardio work and you want to shake it up a little bit, I'm tired of the stair climber. I'm tired of walking the treadmill. A heavy bag in your basement, you hang it up so it doesn't kill you, and you do what? 5 minutes of just some jabs, some kicks. And
you want to move. The more you move around your footwork and stuff,
you got to keep the legs moving.
You got to keep the legs moving.
If you're not moving the legs, you're the biggest muscle group in your body, right?
Right, and then they also with fighting and stuff. That's where everything starts. Your shots for your wrestling, your punches. If you're doing it right, all start with your feet.
So all those guys in Planet Fitness that I see never doing cardio and all they do is lift weights.
That's because they're doing the stuff that's easy and fun.
Yeah,
they're enjoying it, and it feels good as a guy to move massive weights.
Well, there's an adrenaline rush and endorphins and all that.
Yeah, and then you go, now I would like you to run in plays or run on the treadmill for 30 minutes, and I want your heart rate at 148. And they're like, what? Huh?
I hate it.
Tell me, before we get out of here, and I don't know how much time we have left, but I'm dying to know.
Good.
I want to know this. Tell me about some of the massively painful moves that you've inflicted on people and they've inflicted on you. What's the worst of the worst?
Armbar. Come on.
What?
Well, arm bars are, if people get the knee bars are the scary part of those. You just don't feel them until boom.
Until it pops?
It pops, yeah. You don't feel them very much till they pop. So that's a little bit scary.
And is that where's the worst place to get hit with a knee?
Obviously the head, but a good one to the gut's pretty
bad too.
But you understand the armbar. You're pulling this away until it pops.
I'm sorry, I don't know what the armbar is.
Take a chicken wing flat, a flipper.
Is this going to be like waiting? Are you going to do something weird with the chicken?
No, I'm just
piece?
saying you got a chicken wing flat. We call them a flipper, right?
Right.
And you grab the two bones and you pull it and and eventually it pops.
What is the armbar? Would you show me on Tom Bowman?
Well, the one to show you would be I'm sure there's other names for it, but we always grew up calling it the crapper. We'd grab a guy.
I'm not doing this.
You put a guy in a bow and arrow, which is an arm across, and you have your arm back here so he can't move his head.
The bow and
arrow. You hook a leg and you take your knee and put it right in his ribs and bend him like a bow and arrow.
Oh God, no.
What are you hoping to break?
Everything. It's just really real painful.
You become the crossbow. You know when you pull a crossbow back? You are the crossbow.
Okay, all right. I guess so. That's a slow, and you've got the leverage.
Yes.
And now you're pressuring in his whole body, and he's looking for like a finger to go tap, 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 and I'm out.
And there's some spinal ones and stuff that are
spinal.
They're twist the spine. And
let me ask you this.
But usually the bigger guys they have a lot of trouble getting it on there.
Mike Tyson at 28 in this era, MMA more prevalent than boxing. Would he have made a good MMA guy?
Yeah. Well, he was
really.
No, he would have been.
I thought he was a little too thick.
No. He for his weight class and stuff, he'd be fine. You just were the height. As long as you learn how to use what strength, one guy can pull off arm bars or tie up with somebody a little bit better because he has longer arms and things. Another guy, because he's shorter.
Between him and Holyfield, completely different strengths.
Yes, completely different strengths, and that's what MMA is a nice thing is it brings out. You can have a guy that's lightning fast and then another guy that's a lot stronger, and you can make both work out. I mean,
then it becomes
the guy who's a lot stronger has got to get in close and get a hold of him. The guy that's lightning fast is trying to hit and go, and go.
Exactly. He's hitting and going, and the guy that's really strong and a little bit slower has to figure out the timing.
So
wait a second. Stepping in and
so back to the most painful, the worst things that you've ever put on somebody or you've ever felt. Was it the things you were talking about, or was it a hit? Was it a kick to your head?
When we're sparring, the most painful is Darian Weeks. You hate it when I have to have one of my guys get me, but I was coming in after him, and he got a little spooked, and he brought a knee up into my chest, and he brings those knees up hard enough it cracked my chest bone.
What?
Yeah.
Your sternum.
Yeah, cracked my sternum. Yep.
And then
Which
is
what they do when they do heart surgery.
I stood there, and I went with him for about another minute, and I was like, just wait, because something's wrong.
Yeah.
This is not feeling right.
Stop?
No, I didn't stop.
You know when they do open heart surgery, they literally saw your sternum and rip you open, and the recovery is god awful.
So Weeks was like your surgeon. He was your heart surgeon.
It was quite painful.
He did you a favor.
No, he didn't do any favors.
I'll just pre-crack this for 20 years from now, and you won't have to worry.
Why? The doctors go in, they go, "Hey, it's already done."
I'm sorry. Who did us a favor?
This is good over
We're
here.
going to take $2,000 off your bill because this guy already pre-cracked you.
How in the hell were you leaning down? How did he get the power up?
Well,
into that thing?
he's a lot faster than I am.
Is he behind?
So again, we're going back to
the back of your
so
head.
So he came in and attacked me, and as he's backing out, I come right after him.
Oh yeah, jeez.
And he hits pops against the wall, and as soon as he hits that wall, he knows he's cornered.
God.
So he bring his knee up immediately as I was coming in.
Did you ever put your knee into somebody's head?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How'd they feel about that?
Usually, if you land a clean one, they're out. It's not.
And you've done that.
Oh yeah.
Where's if you're gonna no headgear, right? You're in an actual fight. The best place to put a knee on a head is where? At the temple?
Oh, it's always always the jaw is where you want you.
Because that's
you can hit them any place, but most of the time, if you need somebody anywhere near the jaw, they're going to.
Why is that? I mean, because the same thing in boxing.
It's a mechanism in your body that is supposed to be there to keep you safe. That it makes you go out.
That's the getting your clock cleaned feeling.
Yeah, the glass jaw.
Yeah,
it's just you drop.
Did
you ever break anybody's jaw?
I think I broke somebody's jaw and a nose and an arm.
All three? The same person?
No.
Okay.
Same move.
Same move. Coming back.
No,
I don't want to break your nose, but I broke your jaw and your arm. You come at me.
I broke a whole bunch of people's collarbones when I was wrestling in high school.
Yeah, look at his arm. Look at his hands, dude.
I'd reach through and grab both sides. They try to stand up, and I just reach like that and poop on the ground.
Let's end on this. I'm going to end on this question.
Oh, good Lord.
So, I'm going to end on this. We have a mutual friend named Brad who knows you, who told me to ask you this question. Can you take your hand and do the Spock Vulcan death grip and break somebody's collarbone?
I don't think I can break a collarbone like that, no.
But you could do some damage.
Have you ever tested the pressure you can apply with one hand squeezing?
Can you put somebody down with it?
Mervin, one of my heavyweights, who's the number one ranked amateur heavyweight in the 5 or 6 state
If your
region.
parents name you Mervin, you're going to be a fighter.
I can take it. He's ex-Amish. I can take him in.
Oh, that guy. I saw a story about that guy.
You probably saw a story about Albert. Albert's
it was
ex-Amish.
Albert. Yeah.
Mervin's a little bit bigger guy.
No.
He hates it because I'll just take my thumb and just put it into his ribs and stuff, and he just freaks out because it hurts so bad.
Hey, Chris, come over here. Come on, Chris.
You mean grabbing his cage, cage of his body?
Yeah,
I got the big camera on, so show one. Hey, Chris, no, get there. Yeah, there you go.
Just like that.
Wait a second. Did it tickle? It didn't tickle.
Here, come on this side of him so we can see you.
He's
right
going to
here.
be at the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah,
what did you do?
Yeah, that's a good spot right
there. Did you separate his rib?
No, I didn't do it that hard. I just did about half.
Show it again.
No. Sorry.
He just tapped you. What are you talking about?
You reached over and you just touched him like this, and then you just squeezed.
Just squeeze a little bit.
Squeeze on his left side because that's where the camera can see. Just
right
do
here.
It, do it
you
slow.
Take your thumb.
Oh my God, dude! This is.
Oh. God. I saw it go in.
You know how many drinks I have to buy Chris now because of this? Listen.
That is
you
awesome.
can have anything. It's like going to the carnival.
Oh God!
You have earned enough tickets. You can have anything from the top.
Top shelf.
Anything from the
He's
top
like, okay,
shelf.
I'll take it again for that.
Anything from the top shelf. That is absolutely amazing.
This is fantastic.
Wow.
We have to have you back at some point.
When is the next event? What's
August 14th here in Columbia. Finally.
Where will it be?
Knights of Columbus.
Where do we go on the website to get more information?
Just MidwestFightLeague.com.
MidwestFightLeague.com. And Rob Hulett, thank you so much for being here. Never do that rib thing to me.
Holy shit. By the way, I'm leaving the wide camera. I love the wide camera.
You like that one?
The behind-the-scenes camera is great because we saw Chris take it to the rib. Yeah, there you go.
And coming up in a moment, while this is playing, you're going to do the rib thing to Tom
No,
Boman,
no,
right?
no.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be
This
awesome.
has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.